Is Pro Acryl any good? Let's find out.
How's it going, guys? My name is Matt, this is my beard, this is a new hat, and obviously the fork mic's back. This is going to be a bit of a different video, a bit of an impromptu video. I'm going to be revisiting my Nomads series this week, so if you're watching this on the day of release, it'll be on Friday when my next Nomads video comes out. However, something a bit different happened over the weekend, and I had to jump on it because the excitement is there, and it still is, to be honest with you. I'm still loving this little sort of side quest that I'm going on. So, first and foremost, this video's got two parts to it. First and foremost, just a little bit of lamentation about riding excitement and finding nostalgia. And the second thing is actually a product review, my experience so far and my thoughts and feelings towards a specific brand. Yeah. So let's first and foremost talk about excitement. I have been in this hobby for 2 decades now. I was working out the other day, and it's been so long, and I've had so many models come through my hands in the last 20 odd years. It's been really exciting and really interesting for me. And one model that sticks in my mind from quite a long time ago is the original Typhus sculpt from the Death Guard. And obviously with the Nurgle box being released, the Poxrot Vector or whatever it was called, and with them getting a resurgence, obviously there's a lot going on in Nurgle and Death Guard. However, in my mind, that prompted a little memory of one of my first models, I think. If I remember rightly, it was like early 2024. No, not 2024, 2004. It was early 2004, possibly, when I picked this up. And it's the original Typhus, so it's the metal sculpt Typhus where his scythe is across his chest like this, as opposed to up in a heralding fashion as to what you're probably used to seeing it now with the newer sculpt. But that model really sticks in my mind, one, because it was so weighty, it's got so much weight behind it, but two, I've got like really weird tactile memories of it, so remembering how spiky and how like sharp the scythe was for a model, and I was thinking, bloody hell, it's got some spike to it. Oh, excuse me. So back to Typhus. So basically, I was scrolling through, so like periodically every week or so, I'll go through Facebook Marketplace, I'll go through, the trading websites, and I'll go through eBay, and I'll look for really good deals on anything, basically, just to see what's out there. Now, I came across a seller who had bought Typhus back in the day, partially built him, and then done nothing more with him. And I think I picked it up for maybe £15, £20, something like that. Which, the going rate for a Typhus model is between sort of 30 and 60. So I thought, you know what, I'll get that, because it's a really good nostalgic model for me. So I bought it. It came really quickly, and I was so excited. Like just handling that model again and looking at it, looking at the teeny tiny Nurgling on his knee, and like looking at the scythe, and just how foreboding that helmet is with a big horn at the front. It's like it's a horn which has got like a metal like bit of armor on top of the horn. It's just so cool. But my model back in the day, I didn't really paint. I remember base coating. I built it up and I base coated it, but I never painted it, just because I didn't really paint back then. I bought the models and base coated them so they were black, but then that was it really. I didn't do much more than that. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to ride this wave of excitement, really hit that nostalgia right where it hurts, and go, you know what it is, like, let's do this properly. Now, secondary to that, and why we're talking about Pro Acryl today by Monument Hobbies, is I recently picked up the base set and the Adepticon box for Pro Acryl. A number of my friends had mentioned that Pro Acryl were a really quite good paint to use and to try out. It's got really good versatility. They had their own opinions on various different things, but they recommended it to me because they know what I'm struggling with in certain aspects of my journey in the hobby. So I bit the bullet. I bought the base set and I bought the Adepticon box because the colours in the Adepticon box are absolutely phenomenal, like really, really good. So I bought them. So I thought I would challenge myself and paint Typhus pretty much exclusively using Pro Acryl, outside of maybe one or two very, very specific things, such as Typhus corrosion, for example, as a technical from Citadel, but exclusively using Pro Acryl. And the result blew me away. So this is just a quick review now. This is like my review of the paint. So first and foremost, my experience with paint is quite varied. I've got quite a lot of experience with Vallejo, and I've got quite a lot of experience with Citadel, and I've got quite a lot of experience with AK. And those three paint series are brilliant. They have their own different, good points and bad points. However, the one thing that's kind of synonymous throughout them is their opacity, so the coverage or their pigment density that allows for just a one-pass use, so to speak. Because let's take Citadel, for example. If you were to take Citadel straight from pot, it's a very thick application, and yeah, you'll get one coat, but it's going to be thick and it's going to remove detail. And obviously you're meant to thin your paints, that's the whole point. You're meant to thin your paints down, do a couple of thin coats, meaning that you're retaining your detail, but then you're also allowing for maximum coverage when it comes to your pigment density. So on the model, you're going to have a higher density of pigments, so a higher frequency of the pigment molecules, or whatever you want to call them, within that liquid, which then dries to the face of the model, or the area that you're painting, and it gives that thicker, more rich colour in whatever colour you're painting. And one of the things that I found when I was looking at the different paints that I've tried over the years was that I started exploring different paint ranges to try and find the perfect paint, and Pro Acryl's come really, really close to that now. Like, it's probably the best paint I've tried to date. In fact, I'm going to say it now, it is the best paint I've tried to date. I love Vallejo. Vallejo's great. It's a really, really good, versatile paint range. Irrespective of sort of the politics behind it and what's going on over in Spain and blah, blah, blah. Like, the actual model, the Game Colour the Game Colour 2 range, so this is the new range that's come out. I got loads of those when it first came out, and I've loved them, and I've used them pretty much religiously ever since. But now I'm trying Pro Acryl, I'm thinking, hang on, these are so good. The user experience, for one, is it's sublime. It already has a agitation ball in it, so when you shake it, it's already getting agitated by the little ball that's already inside it. You get more volume, so you got more liquid within the bottle, so you'll have longer lasting bottle range, so to speak. Your mileage may vary based on your atmospherics, but they're not going to dry out anytime quick. It's a dropper bottle, so again, user experience straight on the palette. Job's a good one. Don't have to worry about scooping it out, putting it on your palette, losing loads when you wash your brush. It's just a good user experience from start to finish. And then when you actually start to use the paints, the coverage is phenomenal. Now, I still do. So I did one pass, for example, with the drab brown. And the drab brown is from the Adepticon box. Now, obviously with this being Typhus, it's meant to have that kind of eerie, nasty, sort of snotty, grungy feel to it. And drab brown was a perfect colour for that. And honestly, it's fast become one of my favourite colours just because of how it lands on the model. It pops without being too bright. It's a solid colour based on its coverage. Now, I did do 2 thin coats of it. I did one pass on each area, and then I went back over with another pass just to sort of bring that colour density up, and that was perfect. Like I use like quite a dry wet palette, so there's a lot of people who flood the sponge and your membrane on top is kind of just floating in water. I don't do that. I make sure that the sponge is moist, and then I'll put like a nice little coverage of water on the top membrane, like on the paper. I'll rub it all through, I'll let that sink down through, and then that leaves a nice little bit of moisture in my palette, but it doesn't over flood, meaning that if I just push down a little bit, it'll allow a little bit of water to escape, and it'll help like hydrate the area on my palette. And I was finding that I had a full day of use without having to worry about drying out, and I wasn't getting all that like chippage that you get when you're using your wet palette. So that moves on to the metallics then. Let's talk about the metallics. So first and foremost, complete side note, I have now found my new favourite metallic paint. By far, it is magnesium. Magnesium by Pro Acryl, gorgeous paint. Like literally, it is so nice. It's like a dark steel with like a green tinge to it. So it kind of gives that grimdark aesthetic straight away. And that's my wheelhouse. So straight away, without even going into like an actual review, magnesium, beautiful colour. Absolutely beautiful colour. And the coverage, again, Pro Acryl have done something here. They've got however they formulate their paint, the coverage is phenomenal. I was finding that my brush was retaining more paint in its belly, and I was able to push the paint for longer. I was able to manipulate the paint for longer on the palette, or on the model rather, and I wasn't having to keep on going back. I wasn't losing much paint. I was doing effectively a full limb of Typhus with one pass of paint. Whereas with other paint ranges, I would have probably had to go 2-3 times back to get one limb done. And that's a really strange concept if you think about it, because I'm not doing anything different. I'm not painting in a different way. This isn't a skill change. This is a paint change. I'm painting exactly the same way as I would usually paint. And yet here I am going over one limb at a time, carefully, being clean and concise and being very intentional with my movements, and yet I'm able to get pretty much an entire limb done on one dip of paint. Now, I did get the base box, and the base box comes with 24 paints, right? And those 24 paints really set you up for a great experience. Like, I'm actually already looking to get the translucent set, and I'm also looking to get the metallic set wider range. But I'm probably going to get the full everything you can get. Like, I am fully committed now to buying pretty much everything here, because genuinely, like, I've not had this experience before. Like, I've never, like, outside of when I did my Colourforge changeover, I tried the matte black from Colourforge as opposed to the Chaos Black from Citadel, and I was like, you know what it is? This is like chalk and cheese. This is phenomenal. Like, I've not felt this way about paint before. Like, Vallejo was beautiful, and I'm still going to use Vallejo, but the more that I'm using Vallejo and the more that I'm now using Monument Hobbies' Pro Acryl, the less I'm using my Citadel stuff. And like, I think it's just like a comfort thing, really. Like, I know that, for example, Dracuthi Violet, for example, good paint, beautiful coverage, beautiful shade of purple. Like, that's got its usage, but I'm comfortable with that name and I'm comfortable with that paint. Whereas now that I'm experimenting and I'm kind of like a mad scientist, with paint concoctions, I'm like, you know what it is? I'm excited to try new paint. So I would say if you're looking to expand your paint range that's accessible to you, the big pro, I think these are the takeaways you need to know. So first and foremost, you are paying for quality, okay? For one pot, I think I found it maybe £4.50 to £5, as opposed to the 2, 3 and 4 that we're used to in other ranges. So you are paying for more product, but you are literally paying for 22 ml of paint in a dropper bottle. Now, that is a little bit on the expensive side, I absolutely agree. However, I'm willing to pay that extra for all of the pros that I've just notarized there. Like the coverage, it lasts longer in the belly of the brush. It lasts longer on the wet palette. It doesn't dry out as fast. Like, as I said, I think it was 9.5 hours yesterday that I was playing around with this. And honestly, like, I was so happy to have full range of color and motion with these paints without having to worry about them drying out. So it doesn't dry out as quick. It's got a far greater belly in the brush life, and the pigment density is there in spades. And also the coverage, I can't get away with how well these cover. So there we go. Now, this was a bit of a sort of slap bash quick cut video. I've had to cut little bits out here and there because I've not been sleeping very well recently, so I've been yawning like mad. But genuinely, like, I'm so happy that I've tried out Pro Acryl, and I'm so looking forward to expanding the range. The only problem I've now got is how am I going to store them all. So there you go. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to let you guys know as and when I get any further updates on Pro Acryl and how I'm working with the paint that I'm getting. I'm looking to get some more, and I'll probably drop a couple of videos like this going forward, just as and when it becomes relevant. But for the time being, here's what I've done with Typhus so far. It's not a completed model because I do need to get some washers and that sort of stuff to do a couple of different effects here and there, because currently there's certain bits that pop a little bit too much that I want to kind of drive down with some washers, and also there's a couple of metallics that I need to add that I don't have access to, and I want to use 100% Pro Acryl, or as close as I can to that, for Typhus. So here's what it looks like currently, and as you can see, I did the helmet quite nicely. I've done a really cool rust effect. Now the only colour that I haven't used, which I have used, which isn't from Pro Acryl, is Typhus Corrosion, but that's because I wanted that texture. But then I've added the red oxide, and I've the orange oxide. Is it the red oxide? Yeah, the red oxide and the orange oxide from the Adepticon box. And I've just stippled that on and over to create a rust effect, and as you can see, the rust effect's really, really good. So overall, beautiful paint, great model, and a great nostalgia trip. And yeah, there we go. So outside of that, Monument Hobbies, they're great. Pro Acryl, it's amazing. Nostalgia, chase it. And outside of that, I've been Matt. This has been my beard. If you want to see what I've done with my last Ashways Nomads video, have a look on screen now. And outside of that, this Friday I'll be releasing my next Ashways Nomads video. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. I've been Matt. This is by my beard. I've just knocked my mic. That's my new hat. I hope you like it. I do. And yeah, I'll catch you later.